Hello, guys. I'm gonna wait for at least one person to show up before I start reviewing alcohol. Um, but yeah, this is the live. Just chilling as it is. Now that is epic. You ever, like there's like a meme that you can tell a guitarist playing piano because every time guitarists play piano, they'll play a long note and do this, like they're vibratoing the piano. Like it's a common thing. Guitarists are so used to doing vibrato on everything that they like do that. They just vibrato everything. So the reason I brought that up is because I've recently noticed that sometimes I'll vibrato the vape, oh, which looks kind of gay now that I'm seeing it. Yeah, looks a little homosexual. I'm just waiting for people to come out here before I start talking about beer. I hope they show up quickly because I accidentally opened it without thinking, and I don't want it to go flat. I'm just chilling. Um, I'm watching a video right now as I'm streaming. Apparently, balls move and undulate. Like if you just look at your balls for a while, they move and undulate. That's interesting. Oh man. I'm simply waiting for people to show up. I burnt myself today. Probably can't see that. I thought it was going to be pretty bad, but it seems to be not that bad. I don't think I'll get a blister or anything. But maybe I will. I'm not sure. It's definitely swollen a little. I don't really know. What was that? I know you guys can't hear the video I'm watching, but they just mentioned spraining your ankle as an adult is like a big deal, which I forget that when you're an adult, well, I say when you're an adult, but when you're like 30, you don't heal as well anymore. What was that anime where there was a Real Life? Real Life is the one I'm thinking of. Wasn't Real Life released like exclusively on the internet? It was a pretty good show. That's surprisingly decent. Was it based off of a like a light novel? It's probably based off a light novel, right? Real Life. Alright, well, it seems that no one is around, so I'm just gonna begin. I'll pause the video I'm watching. So here I will be reviewing. I don't know if it's backwards for you. It probably is, but it's Icebreaker Pale Ale, Green King, created by our apprentice brewers, unbottling potential. Icebreaker Pale Ale, alcohol percentage is 4.5. A Green King Brewery. I'll read the back for you. Green King has opened its doors to new industry talent under the tutelage of Ross. It just says Ross. Under the tutelage of Ross, the world's youngest master brewer, our apprentices were given the freedom to break the boundaries of brewing at Green King, creating this easy drinking, unfiltered pale ale bursting with fruity hop aroma. And then a bunch of shit about not becoming an alcoholic. So that's basically all there is to read. It's chilled, comes in a glass bottle, as most beers tend to. And let's see what the nose is like. Quite flowery, fruity, flowery. I don't know nothing about beer. I just drink it. But it smells quite pleasant. So let me taste it. Yeah, tastes like a pale ale to me. Yeah. I don't know what I was really thinking this was going to be like. I don't know shit about alcohol or beer. But it tastes, it's not as bitter as some pale ales that I've had. It's not bitter at all, really. There's a little bitter note when you first taste it, but it's mostly sweet and quite like floral, I guess. Yeah, it's not that heavy. It's only 4.5%, which is not unusual for a pale ale, I believe. But it tastes alright. I'll drink it. I don't know if I'd go out of my way to buy this, but I'll drink it. And there's a good chance my mum's going to come into the door any second now. Hello, Ifrit. Lol. I agree. Lol. Yeah, I left it out with the cap opened for a little too long, and it's gone a little flat, which is kind of sad. But it's not very carbonated. Doesn't. If it went flat that quickly, it probably wasn't very carbonated to begin with. There you go. That didn't go so badly, did it? And there's not really that much to talk about with alcohol. It just kind of tastes like beer. I can tell that it's different from other beers, but I've already said everything I think about it. So now what do I do, eh? I don't know. I'm not with a pale ale. Like I tend to get them when I go out. Like if I go to a restaurant and they have a pale ale on the beer menu, is that what it's called? The beer menu or whatever. I'll tend to buy it then, especially if it's Italian food. For some reason, it goes well with tomatoes, and a lot of Italian food has tomatoes in it. So that's when I'll get a pale ale. It's kind of cuts through. I don't know what that means. I don't know what I mean by saying that, but it kind of cuts through. Pale ales are sour, right? Yeah, more sour than most beers. Uh, I'm not. Again, I don't really know why I decided to do this, since I don't really know anything about beer, nor am I particularly interested in anything other than the alcohol content and the fact that it's hopefully cold and cheap. Uh, but I happen to have this due to various circumstances that I've never tried before. But yeah, this isn't that sour. Pale ales are quite bitter in general. This is definitely quite bitter, but it's not. It's not that like it's not bitter compared to some other pale ales I've had. Um, yeah, it's fine. It's a little too. I prefer stronger beer, which we'll get to in a minute. I prefer a beer with a higher alcohol content, just not only because it has a higher alcohol content, but also just the taste of them. Um, and this is only a 4.5, which is pretty damn low. So, uh, I could take it or leave it. But I'm gonna finish this one off, hopefully, so I can get on to the next beer. Uh, I really don't have anything else to say about it. The label's kind of ugly. Like, if I saw this in a shop, I highly doubt I would buy it. They need to get a graphic design person stat. Like, that font. Firstly, two fonts. It doesn't look good, right? So, firstly, you got this quite widely kerned font for this bit of the label, and then a very with not very much spacing between the letters, and that kind of makes it doesn't feel balanced. It feels awkward, and then not only that, but you got this sort of fake weathering effect on the font. I think that looks dumb. I think that looks dumb as fuck because this font feels very modern. You got the sans serif, very clean modern font, and even this font is pretty modern. But then for some reason they've done this weathering effect to make it seem kind of rustic and hipstery, despite the fact that it's right next to another font which is completely clean. So it just looks kind of dumb. Also, these borders. So where the text hits the blue, they they've put a white border around it, right? And those borders need to be thicker because, and also here's a big thing. If you look in the middle of the R, right, there's this really thin sliver of blue, and that just adds a lot of tension to the design that isn't really needed. It just makes it look kind of awkward because you've got this really thin sliver of blue. So they need to make this border much wider. because it kind of looks like they didn't, like, they weren't sure about it. It looks like they kind of put it in as an afterthought. But no, that's a bad idea. You want to make sure it looks deliberate, and like it doesn't add any weird tensions to your design. Like it from a distance, it doesn't actually really have any effect on the readability at all. Yeah, it's not great. Also, this color of blue doesn't make me think alcohol in any way. Like it's called Icebreaker, and it has an anchor and like I guess it's ice. Yeah, the font does make me feel stressed, and that's because the borders are too thin around it. It's very sharp angles, which is what you'd expect from a modern font, and then the kerning is very small, so there's very little spacing between the letters. You've got these sharp sans serif angles, and then you've got this weathering effect, which is just weirdly over detailed. It's bad design. Come on, mate. Um, yeah, it's not good. It doesn't read like this thing. The anchor is incredibly generic. Like what does that mean? Why? Why an anchor? Why is this beer an icebreaker? It doesn't taste like an icebreaker. It tastes the opposite. I can imagine sipping this on a summer's day. You know, it's quite refreshing and not very alcoholic. Rather than on a winter's day. Yeah, probably won't buy this again. Not great. Let's move on to our second beer of the night. This is Lef. This is a classic. This is not from any sort of independent brewery or nothing. This is a brand. I wonder who makes this. Does it say? I'm assuming this is made by some sort of big alcohol company, but I don't actually know. InBev. Is that a company? I don't bloody know. What am I talking about? But yeah, this is Lef, and already you got some like this. This is really. I really like the design of this label. Like let's first of all let's open this shit up and get some tasting going on here. As you see, it has this like foil over it, which I think is pretty cool, but it's also kind of annoying. This is a Belgian blonde beer, and it's 6.6%. So quite significant amount more alcohol in this than in that pale ale. Let's give this a taste, eh? Oh, it's very different. I mean, I don't know why Martin's surprised. I've had this. This is one of my all-time classics. I get this a lot. But tasting it right next to that other drink, very big change. It's completely different. There's no floweriness or fruitiness to it at all. You actually can taste the alcohol. You get that tang of the alcohol, which I like a lot. It just feels heavy, like not just because it's alcoholic, but the flavors feel more whiskey-like, even though it's obviously not anything like a whiskey. But in the same way, like woody. I don't know what earthy is. This the phrases people use when they talk about beers? I don't fucking know, but it tastes like darker, even though it's a blonde, which is not physically dark in color. But it goes down pretty easy, but it does feel like you're drinking. It's also quite carbonated, as you can see. It's much more carbonated. So I don't really know anything about beer, but those Belgians, they clearly know what they're doing. See, unlike that other beer, with this one, if I look at this label, all I can tell from it is that it's a pale ale. And the only reason I can tell that is because they wrote it in big fucking letters on the front, right? But that doesn't really tell me anything. Whereas with this, I look at it, right? Immediately, I see this like Anno 1240. I'm like, okay, this is some old monk type beer, which is then reinforced with the font, which has, it's not just like a normal font. Like, even the standard, like, whatever you'd call this, calligraphy, black letter type font doesn't look like this. You can see the L and the E, like there's interesting design going on here. The light, it feels cool to look at. There's no like weird, like I'm not looking at it and thinking like that looks awkward. I see it and I immediately get conjured up images of monks and old books and shit. I'm assuming this was brewed by monks because if you see up here, there's a picture of what looks to be a Belgian monastery up there. And then the fact that Anno is Latin, as a lot of monks do prayer in Latin, this makes me feel like there's probably a beer brewed by monks. Beer brewed by monks. Let me see if I'm right. Does it say anything in the back? It doesn't. All it says is it's from Belgium and then gives the ingredients in French. Product of Belgium. Yeah. I don't need to know. Like, who cares? Yeah, this shade of yellow is very nice. This actually makes me think of beer. Like, it makes me think of a pub. And then the gold, it looks sick. I like it. Like, if I show you from far away, it's still readable. But if you look close, there's actually, this yellow bit is not solid. I don't know how well you can see that on this camera, but there's actually designs in the back of the yellow bit. Like a cool little design, which is dope because it shows someone put some actual thought into it. Yeah, shouts out to Belgium. They know how to make a fucking beer. Also, if you compare the shape of the bottles, this one has a very like kind of ugly shape. Like it just sort of dips inwards and goes upwards, like some sort of industrial chimney. But that is completely juxtaposed by the weirdly ugly in your face light blue theme with all these jagged ice edges and shit. Whereas this, it looks kind of like the tower of an old building, especially with this gold foil at the top, which says blonde on it. There's cool detail. I respect that. Graphic designers, they do not get enough respect in our society. Now, a lot of graphic designers, their entire job is to make something that tricks you into buying it, which I'm not sure how I feel about, but it is like a cool art form. Like, I respect it as an art form. There's a lot of effort goes into a lot of these things. Like, you don't notice it when it's done well. It's kind of like sound design in movies. Like, a movie's sound design is good if you don't notice it. If it just completely feels perfectly natural. If you notice the sound design, something's gone wrong. And good graphic design is similar. It should just feel completely natural, which is good. Yeah, it feels good in the hand. I don't know what it is about this. Maybe it's just because I drink it a lot, but that's because I like it a lot. And it's strong. It feels manly. It makes you feel like a nice Belgian monk man, Have some left, get some left in you. I'm assuming, I don't know how this word is actually pronounced. What do they speak in Belgium? They speak French, right? Lif. Lif. Blonde. Lif. Pierre Bild d'Abeille. Oh, that's Abeille is abbey. So I was right. It is actually monks. Oh yeah, they speak Belgian. They speak French and German in Belgium. So they have a little the translation in French and in German. Because I'm assuming from the fact that the back label is written in multiple languages, including Greek and Russian and French and German. Maybe that's Dutch as well. I can't tell. But yeah, it's written in various languages. So I'm assuming they just distribute the same bottle. Well, trapped in my psyche, I want some of that bubbly. It's not bubbly. Well, it is bubbly, but maybe that's not slang where you come from. But where I come from, bubbly is slang for champagne, because it's bubbly wine. But I guess beer is also bubbly, so it's a perfectly reasonable thing to say. Whew. I should probably slow down on my drinking. I've been drinking like every night, relatively heavily. It's okay. My liver can deal with it. I got a good strong liver up in here. Look, just because alcoholism runs in my family, which makes me statistically more likely to become an alcoholic, doesn't mean I'm going to become an alcoholic, despite the fact that I drink almost every night. Yes, burp mode. I'm drinking these beers quickly because I wanna get through them. I got one more beer to review. I also, before I started this stream. Now that there's actual people here, I can tell the story. I was saving this for you lucky 6 people that are watching. You know what? I'm gonna go grab it out of the trash. I'll be back in 1 second. Don't go. So, as well as that weird icebreaker beer, I also happen to have this weird. Oh, yo, what up, Red? I also happen to have this weird Jägermeister shot of cold brew. Like, I looked at this label and I thought, oh, it's a shot of strong cold brew coffee, but it's actually cold brew coffee mixed with Jaeger. I don't know if I would necessarily call it it says it's a herbal liqueur with Arabica coffee and a hint of cacao. You know what's weird? Arabica just means Arabic in Italian. I don't know why they don't just say Arabic coffee, because that's what it means. But it's used. There was a little while there when I was like maybe 2.5 years ago, where I was a little bit into artisanal coffee, and you hear the word Arabica, you see it on a lot of things. But it just means Arabic in Italian. It's a weird thing to say. But yeah, this is this weird Jägermeister thing. It's like a shot. It is 33% volume. I think it's a double shot actually, but I'm not sure. So I had that before this as well, and it tasted like shit. And I think it has a lot of caffeine in it as well. I'm assuming. Doesn't say. It says nothing about the caffeine content, but from how I'm feeling after drinking it, I think I'm a little caffeinated. So probably had caffeine in it. What's going on in the chat? You drink, but do you get drunk every night? If not, then I wouldn't say you're an alcoholic. Well, how it normally goes is I go through like phases where for like 2 weeks or maybe a month. From 2 weeks, maybe from like 1 week to a month. Normally somewhere around two weeks ish, where I'll get drunk pretty much every night, or maybe not every, maybe like 80% of nights. Like get actually drunk, and then something will happen. Normally, I'll have a little too, like it will just get a little too out of control. Like I'll have too much to drink one night, and I'll be really hungover, and then the next day I won't want to drink, and then after that I just won't drink pretty much at all. Maybe the occasional 1 or 2 beers for like the same amount of time, and then I'll go back to drinking every night. So I don't know what that means. But I do quite enjoy drinking, and I do drink quite heavily. Like, I don't see the point in I don't really see the point in drinking if you're not gonna drink. You know, like it just feels awkward to be slightly tipsy or buzzed. Like it just feels like, okay, well, I'm halfway there. Like it doesn't feel like you've achieved anything. It doesn't seem to offer any advantages. Heard your friends with Star again. It's prettier to say things in Italian. I agree. You got me into Akiba Pop. Sick. Akiba Pop is the name. If I remember correctly, Akiba Pop is the name of the album by the band Mosaic.wav. Isn't Akiba Pop a music genre? Maybe it is a music genre, but I've generally heard that type of music be referred to as denpa music. Although denpa does encase a large amount of music, but they say if you want an well, I say they, but for example, if you've seen maybe Akiba Pop is the name for that genre of music, that would make a lot of sense. That label does make sense, but I've heard it referred to as denpa music. So pretty much, if you've heard the intro song to Ika Musume, the anime, which is also known as Squid Girl, that sort of genre, that sort of style, it doesn't have to, because that's a very electronic one, but there's more like funk or like ska type, but that sort of anime OP genre I've heard referred to a lot as denpa music. Denpa means like psychoelectric. So it's sort of like weird music. You may recognize the word denpa from the anime Denpa on Nato Seishun Otoko, which is a pretty decent anime. I'd give it a 6, closer to a 7 than a 5, but it has really good OP by my favorite band, Shinsei Kamate-chan. Found out about it because of your video. Sick. I'd recommend listening to more stuff by Mosaic.wav. They are very good. Why are your videos so long? Because I have a lot to say. I don't see the point really in speaking on a topic if I only have enough to talk about for 5 minutes. Like, if it's something that I can only talk about for 5 minutes, then why even bother making a video about it? There's clearly nothing interesting I have to say. But generally, long videos are just good. How do I explain it? I did actually make shorter videos for a while. There's a phase. For example, the video Plunder Mnemonics was me experimenting with a shorter video style. But people didn't really like that. And I liked it while I was doing it, but it takes a lot of editing, which I do enjoy editing, but I don't exclusively enjoy editing. I also enjoy other types of making videos. So a lot of them end up really long. The other reason that they also end up long is because I used to, in the early days of my channel, record everything on the YouTube app and just literally record it with my phone and post it instantly. But I got to the point where I was posting like multiple videos a day, and I was like, instead of doing that, I'll just record them on my phone and then edit them together into one long video so I don't spam people's sub feeds. and that's kind of how it started. Also because the videos that I'm inspired by tend to be quite long. But yeah. Are you actually autistic or just say it as a joke? Yes. Um, I'm watching for some reason I'm watching Ron Swanson a Lifestyle Volume 1 Parks and Recreation on youtube.com/watch V equals AO capital X capital V Z 9 capital H 9 capital Y W S. Long vids are cool. I agree. I generally like long videos. Like, I make videos by neats for neats, even though I'm not a neat. But I like to laugh as a neat. I'm a neat, and neat is a mindset. Neat is in the soul. Yeah, and neats are all about killing time. I have a 3 hour long video. Like, at no point do they ever give a fuck. Dude, we aren't neats, but we are Demper. Good. I respect that. Used to neat and watch your hour long videos where you just ramble. Yeah. I have no other way of communicating solid thoughts. That's why I make music, because I can't talk in short form. I can't do like if I find it very difficult. For example, one of my friends came over the other day. What does the other day mean? The other day is the most vague temporal marker you could possibly say, because the other day means like kind of near to the present, but it could be like anywhere. Could be like a month ago. Probably it's like the max. The other day is a very vague way of saying things, but sometimes being vague is good. So I'm going to say the other day right now. So the other day, a friend came over who is not a weeb. I don't know any weebs IRL. I used to know one guy who, I guess he would self-identify as a weeb, maybe, but what he was kind of one of those ironic weebs, you know. He was also, I would say he was autistic, but he wasn't actually, like, he was actually mostly a normie. I think really the word I'm looking for here is he was stupid. But I made the mistake back in my old school, one of my old schools. I high school, I guess, sixth form. I For the first like 6 months or whatever, actually probably less than that, but for the first like half of the first year, um, I purposely didn't make any friends. And on lunch break, I would just go into the common room with my laptop and watch whatever anime I downloaded the night before. Um, have very fond memories of watching Lucky Star and Nichijou and uh, Ero Manga Sensei, which gives you an idea of the time scale um, on that computer. Fun times. I also watched Ero Manga Sensei in the back of class. I watched the entirety of Ero Manga Sensei until I dropped it um, in school. I didn't. I never watched it at home, which is kind of ridiculous now that I think about it. Like that was probably a bad idea, but I sat right at the back. No one ever disturbed me, so no one cared. Uh, but anyway, at some point there was this guy that I sat next to, just happened to sit next to me, and it turns out he's like a big into like Twitch culture. He's like a mod in a lot of famous Twitch streamers' channels. I don't actually remember who he was a mod from, but it was someone that I actually heard of. Like he mods in a lot of Twitch. Like he's really into that, just being a mod in a lot of places. And yeah, he was just a bit stupid. He had really shitty taste in anime, and he would I don't know. Like, okay, here's an example. He watched Hunter x Hunter 6 times. 6 times. It's 140 episodes. He would just watch it over and over again. What's wrong with this person? And I tried to recommend that he watch Yu Yu Hakusho, and he said he dropped it after 3 episodes. It's basically the same show. So what a very strange man. He also didn't. I actually tried to show him Lane. Uh, After we ended up becoming kind of friends, I was like, okay, this guy's clearly on the edge of weebdom. Maybe I can push him over the edge. I'll show him my favorite anime. Now, I'm very bad at recommending anime to people because, sorry, I'm kind of going on a rant here. I should read the chat. Uh, I made a couple of instrumental songs and remixes. Nice. It's weird though, because you are distant even with your close friends, from what I observed. You're even distant in your own server. Um, I guess so. I'm distant even from myself. The reason for that is probably because I have, well, this is self-diagnosed because I don't really know. Like I told my therapist about this a while ago, and they didn't seem to care about it. So I've since looked up what it means to have these symptoms, and apparently there's an actual psychological disorder which has those symptoms. I forget what it's called. Um, Let me look it up. I think it might just be called. Hold on. Uh, yes, depersonalization, derealization disorder. That is what I believe it's called. Essentially, I live in a near constant state of deep derealization slash depersonalization, where it kind of feels like nothing's real. I've talked about this before on this channel. Derealization is derealization is when it feels like the world isn't real, kind of like you're like everything kind of feels like a video game or a movie, or it kind of feels. It's very hard to explain unless you've experienced it. Apparently, it's pretty common for people to experience this a few times in their life. Uh, Apparently, it comes from some sort of stress response. But yeah, it kind of feels like everything's a video game, like nothing's really, like it's kind of a dream, even though it's real. And then depersonalization is when you feel like you're not real. Right, that one's really hard to explain. But yeah, when I was 15, 16, I started getting that as a symptom of anxieties, and it just sort of slowly became more and more common until at this point it's very, very common, like every day, sometimes for weeks on end. So it's very hard for me to be connected to things. If you want to know what it feels like, watch episode 1 of Serial Experiments Lane. I know a really stupid otaku lolicon named Edward. That guy sounds cool. He was a good friend, but he was a very stupid, dumb former friend. If you have a distant, disconnected aura, I understand you to be disconnected from normies, but even your own friends and server is not good at all. I don't really know what to say in my server. It feels awkward. It's like, what do I do? Show myself, or I don't know. It feels weird. It's a strange dynamic. I'm trying to be more present. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, this guy that I used to know. Yeah. I watched Lane with him, and he didn't really seem to understand what the appeal of it was. But I'm really bad at recommending anime to people because I don't see why you would recommend someone something that isn't like anime. Like, I've talked about this before as well. Most people, if they say what should be the first anime you watch, the general recommendation is Cowboy Bebop. Like, which is, don't get me wrong, I really like Cowboy Bebop. It's like one of my favorite anime, maybe. I don't know if I'd say that, but it's very good. I definitely wouldn't disrespect Cowboy Bebop. But Cowboy Bebop isn't like anime. It's like Western shows, which is why people recommend it, because it's not like most anime. But from my perspective, it's like, why would you recommend something that isn't like anime? For me, if I want to get someone interested in anime, I would show them the most anime thing possible. And if they don't like it, then clearly they're not going to like anime. Because my first anime I ever watched, I've told this a billion times, my first anime I ever watched was Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions, or Chunibyo Demokoi Gashita. And I liked it immediately and watched the whole thing. So from my perspective, it's like, if you don't like the most anime, like, that's a very anime show. It's a romance, it's a Kyoani romance show about someone with Chunibyo. Yeah, it's a very anime. It's not the most, it's not that bad, but it's like, if that sort of thing doesn't appeal to you, then you're not going to be into anime. Stop overthinking. Oh man, that's a dumb comment. I'm not sub to you, but I watch your videos sometimes, the ones that interest me. Sick. To quote, like, one of my first ever videos, the whole point of this channel is to be unknown. I don't go out of my way to appeal to people, because why would I? It doesn't make any sense. Maybe the drugs and alcohol fucked up your brain. This started happening to me long before I'd ever had drugs, and when I'd had very little alcohol. So it's not that. You're getting cause and effect mixed up there, buddy. So that was a good beer. Left. I forgot I'm supposed to be reviewing alcohol here. It's got a really nice label. I really like this color of yellow orange type of. It's very rustic. Feels good. Goes well with the gold. It feels very lethargic. So I'm gonna grab the last beer that I'll be reviewing tonight. I'll be right back. I'm also gonna go to the toilet, so you chat among yourselves. Do some intermingling while I'm in the loo. Alright, lads. This is the last beer we're going to be drinking. I could have sworn I put some in the fridge earlier, but apparently not. So we're just going to have to drink it warm, which is, not the ideal situation. But think about it this way. Beer is literally thousands of years older than refrigeration. So, beer was drunk warm for most of human history. Can't be that bad. This is Desperados. You can see immediately from the design, it is a very different target demographic than these other beers. This is targeted at people who are into beer, I would say. This, I don't really know. It's mostly targeted at sipping, I would say. Maybe a more mature audience. Whereas this is clearly designed for people who want to get drunk. Like, it clearly is designed for a party. Let me read the chat. I'm not neat either. That's surprising. I thought you would be neat, Red. Left Epic Label Gold Mode. A bunch of emojis and then cheers to all the bros. Shout out Liam. I respect you, Liam. Yo, what up, Jalen Harris? The legend himself. Man, I wish I could watch as much anime as you. I would be so cool. And what up, Man's Nana as well? Shouts out. And Plunder's here. Hell yeah. So this is Desperados. It is 5.9 alcohol volume, which is, it is what it is. And it is tequila flavored beer. It is beer with tequila flavorings in it. Now, does it actually taste like tequila? That's really hard to say. It kind of doesn't, but it tastes vaguely like it tastes kind of like its own thing. It certainly has a tequila-esque sour citrusy note to it, which is pretty cool. I quite like it. In fact, out of all the beers in the world, I've probably had the most of this. Like, I drink a lot of this because it's very easy to go down. It's quite sweet. Kind of feels like a drinking a soft drink, and it's quite alcoholic, so I drink a lot of it. With that being said, let's give it a taste. Yeah, very different from the other beers we've had today. Completely different from the Lif. I hope it's pronounced Lef and not Lefe. Otherwise, I've been doing something wrong my entire life. Oh wait, he's not going to be awake. I was going to say I should ask my French friend, but he's going to be asleep because he has a job. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. But this is Desperados, and it tastes like a beer made for the most normie of normies. There's as little beer flavor as possible. It's made to be drank by people on a night out. I don't really know why I like it, but I do like it. However, if you ever try and get drunk off of this shit, you're gonna have a bad time because after like 4 of these, it starts to taste a little sickly. Like, it's very sweet. There's an aftertaste to it that kind of accumulates. I don't know. I really don't know if it tastes like I've had tequila in my life multiple times. I can't really say this tastes much like tequila, but it doesn't not taste like tequila either. It definitely tastes different from most beers. But yeah, there you go. It's also not that warm. It's like surprisingly chilled. I guess from having been kept in a box. Now, if you look at the label, we can see some interesting. Since you've been talking about design for all the labels, this is by far the busiest of all the labels. Like, what is going on here? What is going on here? No idea. But they've been very smart in that, unlike these other beers, so these two beers. Now, this is when I say they've been very smart, it's actually not that smart, but it's kind of smart as well. So these two beers have dark brown bottles. So, for example, this yellow only has to go with this brown, and this blue has to go with this like almost blacky, very dark brown. Whereas this has a clear bottle, so they've designed the label with this green and red to be contrasty against the actual color of the beer itself. Also, please take note of how thick this border is. It actually has two borders. It has a white border and a black border, which is much better for readability because it's quite a long word, Desperados. And then notice how thin they've had to make the font so that it will all fit on one side so that you can see it from one direction instead of having to turn the bottle to look at it because it's on a curved surface. Very clever design there. Shit looks like a southern hip hop album from 1998. Yes, it's very busy. They've even put some symbolism in the logo. Maybe this is my typical classic, as Red would call it, overthinking, which is the only way I know how to think. I believe what Red calls overthinking is actually just known as thinking. But look, they've put a box here and then purposely had the design go outside of the box because people who party and drink like to think they're epic outside of the box thinkers and going crazy while they're breaking society's boundaries. You see, it's clever. I think that's the symbolism in this beer bottle. Also, this is a tequila leaf, although it looks a lot like a marijuana leaf. And then here's the weird shit that I've never understood. So this label is incredibly busy, but they've made it even more busy by having this stuff with tiny text that you can't hope to read. The only reason they can possibly think of them putting that there is for people who have taken a beer to the toilet to take a shit and are reading it while they're taking a shit. Like, there's no one is ever going to read that shit. Very strange design choice there. Also, you'll notice that the design is not symmetrical at all, but it kind of has a gesture towards symmetricality with the three things on top and then the mirror on the. So it's kind of got a two-way symmetry down the middle, but then this is diagonal. Like, this goes like in a diagonal way, and then this is definitely not symmetrical. So I don't know what they were going for there. Mexican maximalism, precisely. It's a very strange design. I don't understand, but I drink it, and it tastes fine, and it gets you alcoholized. It's the perfect beer to drink after you've had the hard liquor, basically, because it has that weird like tequila-y flavor, the almost citrusy kind of flavor. It feels refreshing. So if you've just had a bunch of hard liquor and you're just trying to stay drunk without getting any drunker, it's good. It feels good to drink. I don't really know why. Yeah. The heat's off, right? Yeah, it's getting hot in here. Also burping going on today. Goes well with this Just Juice Superior E-Liquids lemonade flavor, which tastes nothing like lemonade. It's like someone it's like there was like a tiny shot glass full of lemonade a mile away and you smelled it, and that's about how much lemonade this vape flavor has in it. I also do this a lot. I tap my teeth with it. I don't really know why. Not the bottom teeth though. Like this. This feels weird. But this, that feels natural. Don't know why. I should really do some exercise, you know. I drink too much beer to not do exercise, unless I just make it part of my aesthetic. IDK, dude, you were trying hard to be deep and philosophical in that video. That's why I said stop overthinking before. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but that is just how I see the world, as a series of decisions, and the only way I can interpret it is by trying to understand why someone would make those decisions. There you go. That was a pretty eloquent way. I'm pretty happy with the way I phrased that. That was eloquent. I'm happy with that. Like, everything in the world seems completely arbitrary to me. Everything seems very random. I have no innate understanding of it, which I believe is called autism. So in order to try and see why things are structured that way, I end up thinking about things in a way that a lot of people don't. But it's not like I actively go out of my way to think about them that way. It's just that that's how my brain sort of naturally works. That's why, for example, I'm sure a lot of people who watch my channel also watch, assuming they're into anime. I don't know why I assume that. Probably because I talk about anime a lot, but people like anime analysis is a big deal on YouTube. A lot of channels talk analyze animes, not just review them, but analyze them. And for me, that shit's just annoying because when I watch anything, not just anime, film analysis is also pretty big on YouTube. When I watch a film or an anime or a TV show or anything, I naturally analyze it. I can't. It feels completely surreal to me to think about that there are people out there who just watch a film and it just washes over them. They don't think about, like, how can you see a camera technique being used in a film and not think about why that camera technique was used? Do people just not think about these things? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. How can you not think about that? How can you see a shot in a film and not think to yourself, why was that shot used? Like, what's wrong with you? But that's how most people see things. That's how most people experience the world. They see a design, like a beer bottle, and they don't think, hey, look at that metaphor on the beer bottle. They just drink it. What? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. Also, most of the anime analysis channels are really shit because none of them went to film school or know anything about cinema theory. So they just kind of chat shit, which is very annoying. And you can tell when you watch someone like Every Frame a Painting, who does actually, I mean, everyone knows Every Frame a Painting, who doesn't do videos anymore, but he's an actual professional editor, and he went to film school. And when you see him analyze Satoshi Kon, which he did in one video, he actually makes good points. Whereas you see someone like Digibro, or even worse, like Pedantic Romantic, talk about anime, and they're just saying them. They either they do one of two things. They either like talk complete bullshit, normally about themselves because they can't think about anything except themselves. But they normally what they do is their idea of what analysis means is to just describe what is happening. Like they'll watch a scene and then they'll just describe what is happening in the scene. That's not analysis. What are you talking about? Lots of stupid people out there. Hey, Red, don't. I know you made a video about Rizzy. Don't post it. I don't know what you mean, but apparently don't do that. Don't post that video. I don't know why, but I have the people at the production studio have told me that I should tell you not to post that video. Hey yo, what up, person with a good album cover as their profile picture? Molly Boom. Look at this. If I go on my phone, I go on my music player. It wasn't Star. And I go on my albums. You'll see. It's all Midori. It's all Midori and Death Grips and Boris. There you are. I've even got two of you. I don't know why. But that's a good album and you have good taste. Explain. I'm afraid I can't explain because I've already told you everything I know. I would like to explain, but I don't know anything other than what I've just mentioned. How do I know this? I just told you. The people in the production studio upstairs told me. I don't know if they meant for me to actually mention it on stream, but that's how I interpreted it. So there you go. Listen, Red, I know a lot of things about a lot of people. Okay. I hide my power level because otherwise I would be abducted by the government. For having too much power. Simply too much. Lol, you're a hacker. No, I'm not a hacker. I just have ESP. You didn't even listen to my first album. Fake fan. So Desperados is a good beer. I need to drink less beer because my goal in life currently is that I kind of want to lose weight, but I also can't stop drinking beer. So that's bad because beer makes you fat. So I need to just stop caring about being fat. Good beer. It's not really a good beer. By every metric of beer, it's a bad beer. But I like it. You know, although Ron Swanson is a libertarian, I do find myself agreeing with him on most issues. Firstly, why would anyone eat anything other than breakfast food? I just don't know. Secondly, breakfast food means meat. Thirdly, guns. Fourthly, government bad. I agree with all of this. Um, uh, I listened to your album, The No Thank You Doesn't Laugh. Oh yeah, that's a good album. Yeah, that guy's cool. That No Thank You guy. See you later, Molly Boom. Enjoy dog. I'm gonna have another Desperados because those are the only three beers I have in the house, and I've already reviewed the other two. And I happen to have a whole case here with me, so I should simply drink more. So yeah, No Thank You Doesn't Laugh. That's an album. Not your very first album. Don't worry about it. A few people have, actually. I'm not calling you a liar. Don't worry, Red. I'm not. I would never say something about you like that. DM, it's the right kind of night for Desperados. I guess so. I guess it is the right kind of night for Desperados. Every night is the right kind of night for Desperados. You know, getting a government job just so that you can make sure that nothing ever happens is a level of commitment that I am just not ready to undertake yet. But I respect the character of Ron Swanson for doing that. Why don't post it? She's your friend. Listen, I don't know. I've just been told things by my higher ups in the Illuminati, and I'm simply passing them on to you. Okay, that is literally all I know. So don't come at me for shit that I don't even know about. Shout out to the fellows in Belgium having a good time sipping. I agree. Belgium, you got good chocolate, you got good beer, you got good like hills and countrysides and shit. You got two languages, maybe three. I'm not sure. It's basically the perfect country. It even has this trench coat that I always wear. Guess what? It's Belgian. It's Belgian, motherfucker. It's a Belgian trench coat. So there you go, Belgium. I respect you. You got good beer. You got good chocolate. You said I'm a fake when I never said I watched your first album. I hate to tell you. I know this might come as a shock to you, but you don't watch an album. You listen to an album. I hate to tell you. That. But album, very little to do with your eyes, much more to do with your ears. But there you go. Also, you are a fake fan because you're not even subscribed to this YouTube channel, so don't even worry about it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. No one should be a real No Thank You fan. It's like the worst thing you can possibly be. I'll make sure to enjoy dog. You better. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen to you. So you came to warn me of a possible dark future. I guess so. Like and subscribe. Red. You gotta learn the difference between your and your. This is the second time you've mixed them up. It's your, mate. It's your like that, like I just typed in the chat. Apostrophe RE. You are. It's not possessive. Come on, mate. Come on. What are you? Retarded? I don't know if I'm a prophet. I guess it depends how you define prophet. I guess I'm a prophet of lane. I am a lanist, if you don't know. I fully pray to lane as much as I can. I have my own system of worship for lane, my own goddess. I'm not joking. I know you think I'm joking because I always sound like I'm joking, but I'm not joking. Lane is my goddess. So I'm distracted by watching Ron Swanson. Let me read the chat. I know, I just don't do it. Oh, that's about the your versus your. Okay, that's stupid, but I kind of respect it. I think it's dumb, but I do respect it. Linguistic. How do I explain this? Like the idea that language is something that is done one way, that there's one specific correct way to do language, is stupid, and is also a modern invention. Standardized spelling didn't exist for most of human history, and is completely useless because I completely understand what you mean when you spell you're the wrong way. So in this case, I'm just being stupid. In fact, I've been socialized that way. So I apologize because you have every right to spell you're the wrong way. Because who's to say it's the wrong way? Who gets to decide which way is the correct and incorrect way to spell certain things? And in fact, you could even argue that the entire concept of the fact that there's a right and wrong way to spell things is just a way to differentiate the upper classes from the lower classes, which is dumb. Just a way for people who are able to pay for a better education to justify that. When in reality, as long as you can communicate effectively, it doesn't really matter. So I guess I'm in the wrong here. Yeah, I like that. Liam, aka MC Ride. Yeah. It goes, gonna see. Yeah. Sit in the dark and ponder how I'm fit to make the bottom fall to the floor, and they all fall down. Yeah. It goes, yeah. Headed off between the beneath, ever fragmented figure of speech, tongue reverse whenever the beat causing my jaws to call. Ow, 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 yeah. It goes. Serial number, killer machine. They understand memes. Okay, that's enough. There's enough death goats for now. Yo! You know the future in a way. I know the future in multiple ways. I just can't mention them all because they're all connected to various fragmented personalities. I need to make another. I need to make a follow-up video to an older video I made. I need to make a part 2 to this older video I made because I've learned and thought of new things. So I'll probably do that soon. I never said I'm your fan. I was simply a bit interested in your vlogs. Good. That is the correct attitude to take. I like that. You should never be my fan. Imagine being my fan. Then immediately Liam follows up with I'm a fan, heart emoji. Hell yeah, thank you. I'm glad. That's kind of crazy to think about. But I appreciate it. You know, if you're drinking alcohol, always remember to drink plenty of water and stay hydrated. Very important. Very easy to forget. If you're drinking, even if you're just drinking beers, you should drink an equal amount of water to beer. Which will make you need the toilet a lot. You will need to pee a lot. But it's worth it because the next day you won't be hungover as shit, which is fine. Listen, I'm just a messenger. I don't have any ideas of my own. A message from who? I'm afraid that is information I am not at liberty to disclose. I had a really big meal earlier today. I had coq au vin. What was I saying? Oh yeah, something. I completely forgot. Oh fuck, I had something to say, but I don't remember what it was. I got caught up thinking. I was thinking about all sorts of things. You know, low-key, taxation really do be theft. If you have these supernatural powers, that explains why you see the world so disconnected. I'm afraid you have misunderstood. I got strange vibes from you, which I mentioned. That's good. That means I'm doing something right. I don't want normies like you to get non-strange vibes from me. So true. Oh wait, I missed the message. Is someone watching me? I don't think anyone's watching you. This isn't it. This is. I didn't mean to make a big deal out of this. You think I'm a normie, and why did you insult? It is incredibly simple. You are literally a Reddit user. It's not an insult. It just means you're a normal person. Should be a compliment to you. Imagine being a literal Reddit user. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I can see why Star was mad at you. Shout out to the Illuminati. Hell yeah. I can see why Star was mad at you, but either way, I barely use Reddit. Interesting. Don't worry, I don't have hard feelings. I'm just interested and very curious. Yes, I tend to give off that vibe. I don't know why. I'm just trying to. I'm not trying to do anything. I just sort of am. Just sort of putting myself out there. Alright, I don't really see the point in streaming anymore. I've run out of alcohol to review. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to do in the stream. I don't think there is. Let me do some sick burglary skills. There you go. Alright. I'm bored now. Maybe I'll keep streaming, but I don't know. I can't think of anything else to talk about. I'm just talking to the chat. Where the fuck is my thing? There we go. Anyway, Red, I'm serious. Don't release that video. Bad things are gonna happen if you release that video. You know I have special powers up in here in my special brain. So don't release that video. I don't really know. If I have more information, I will tell you more information. But for now, the only information I got is don't release that video. Anyway, peace out. I'm out. I'm gonna go drink more. See ya.